We're recording. I'm meeting with Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Lewis. Hello, everyone.
And Ben, could you tell me how long you've been doing this work?
I'm almost a year in at this point.
Okay. And why are you continue doing this work? Why do you want to do it?
This work gave me a handle on my emotions. Absolutely gave me a control of my internal world, and it was out of control. And I now that I know how to control that, I don't think I will ever give it up.
Well, that's the idea. This is life work, and I've been doing this for over
Life,
40 years. And
yeah,
now you understand why I do this.
absolutely.
Yeah. Does it affect your spiritual nature?
It definitely does. It does affect my spiritual nature.
Yeah. And like I say that individual who wants to do this work, not only do they, as Gurdjieff says, we have three centers: the intellectual, the emotional, and the physical. Particularly the intellectual and the emotional centers, we must include that into this work. However, an individual might be just intellectual and start intellectually, but eventually they must get in touch with their emotions to do this work. To understand Spinoza, you must have the ability to endeavor to focus and concentrate, but also the emotion to understand it. So understanding includes the emotions and the effort to understand. And the individual who is totally emotional, they must learn how to increase their thinking powers to be able to grasp and relate and reflect and contemplate what they are reading. So right now we're looking at on page 248 in the ethics. We're talking about anger, how anger can be totally consuming, and we'll give, say, a fictitious name to someone. We'll call him Larry. The individual who, say, is causing, disturbing you, is doing something to uh, 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 one of your nieces, say, and you're close to your niece, and they're both alcoholics. And Larry, in their argument, and they've been together for about a year, and you're very close to your niece. Her name is, say, Vicky. And Vicky is about 30 years old, and she, like I say, you almost brought her up like a daughter. I mean, she lived with you for a few years, and you're very close to her, but you see that she's ruining her life with alcoholism and probably opioids. And she's met your friend, Larry, and now you are really upset with Larry because Larry and Vicky got into a fight, and he broke a beer bottle on her face and cut her up, and she showed you her picture of her bleeding, and it was very disturbing, and you just wanted to kill him. And so you can see this is a very strong emotion: hate and anger. Anger is desire, whereby through hatred we want to destroy the object of our hate. And hate is pain accompanied by the idea of someone as a cause. In this case, you believe Larry is the cause of your pain. And so you hate and you're angry with him. But then there's pain. And what is pain? Again, pain is a feeling of powerlessness and impotence and not knowing what to do, because in this reality, you cannot do anything because you've been trying to convince Vicky that to go get help. And she doesn't really let us see she has a problem. She says, Uncle, I don't have a problem. I just drink once in a while. And it gets out of hand once in a while, but I don't have a problem. And this is the issue. So you can't really help Vicky. You've tried many times, giving her money, helping her with bills, and buying her cell phone and stuff like that. However, you realize that you want to make progress in this area, how you can not be so caught up in her world. And that's why I recommend Al-Anon for family members or, individuals who have a close relationship with someone who is into drugs or alcohol, to go into Al-Anon and learn how to get in touch with your own feelings, to be with other people who are also have similar problems, and how to learn to detach yourself from the problem and learn to have your own life. And I remember, as I mentioned, there was a woman that I met in Al-Anon. I was attending Al-Anon before I started this group, only because I love the environment of Al-Anon. The individuals who are in a group setting could be anywhere from 3 to 10, 20 individuals who just have 3 minutes to talk about their feelings and what they're doing. And nobody interrupts them, nobody questions them, and nobody analyzes what they say. It's just your freedom to speak. And some people don't speak, but a lot of people do. And it was a real truth, a feeling of truth and reality in that environment. Most of the time, everyone lives their world and pretends everything is okay. But a lot of times things are not okay. So here we are, you've been working with me for a year, and Ben, and you're doing excellent. I think you're making great improvements. You're growing in your understanding, you're growing, and you begin to see, and you're using the tools of factualizing. You're using this book, and this book, what do you feel about this book?
I love that book. I love that book. It's the best book ever.
Yeah.
For real.
All right.
There's so much in this pages. Oh my God.
And so we were studying on page 84, chapter 42. It talks about objective self-observation. And my teacher wrote this material. And actually, it was this material was on a recording that we would that was put in a recorder, and it was attached to a phone. And this was during the 70s, where people would just call up, and they would get a message, and they would get a message like this. And these messages were basically case studies that he derived ideas from working with his students. And so we took these case studies and we made a book of it, and I decided to publish this book. But he starts like this: one of the basic keys to inner freedom is explained by Spinoza in this way. When we are able to come to a clear idea of any passion, such as anger, fear, envy, greed, ambition, and so on, the passion ceases. So the idea is to come to a clear idea of the passion. And so how do we do that? So that's why we go to page 248, and there are keys here in the ethics. This is the ethics. And for those who are going to follow me, it's the Elvis translation and the Dover edition. So we're going to page 248. It must be exactly this book if you are, and those who are going to be watching this in the future. And I find that these videos are particularly for my students, and also for those who are interested to know what we are doing and want to join us. All right, so on page 248, would you go ahead and read Proposition 2?
Sure. Proposition 2. If we remove a disturbance of the spirit or emotion from the thought of an external cause and unite it to other thoughts, then will the love or hatred towards that external cause and also the vacillations of spirit which arise from these emotions be destroyed. The proof. That which constitutes the reality of love or hatred is pleasure or pain, accompanied by the idea of an external cause. Wherefore, when this cause is removed, the reality of love or hatred is removed with it. Therefore, these emotions and those which arise therefrom are destroyed.
All right, so that is the key. That's what's happening. And that's what's happening to you, Ben, is that you're beginning to see by writing, as this essay also says, that as we rewrite, writing what you observe is a highly successful aid in self-observation because this activates the mind. What does it mean to activate the mind? The mind, there are two parts of the mind. The part that is passive, and the part that is passive relies, basically functions out of memory. It has, if you're 30 years old, you have 30 years of, say, information that you've gathered, and that information is now stored memory. And that information is how to deal with problems, how to deal with life. And some of that information is good, and some of it is really, really confused. A good example of confused information, we are told, or not just told but we see by experience and hearsay, that free will is what we have. We have free choice, and that's what goes on. And we are angry at someone for doing something because we believe they have choice. They should do that, and they have free will to do. They have free will to stop doing that. However, Spinoza says this: there are laws in nature, and two of the laws that really govern human nature, the primary laws, I would say, is the law of necessity and the law of self-preservation. Everything we do is to preserve, to live, and to exist, to maintain our existence. So the information we have that we accumulated all these years, and you saying you're what, 40, over 40 years old, over the last 40 years, you've accumulated information, and actually that information is to help you persist and to exist. Mm-hmm. And some of information, like I said, is not clear, and some of it is very good. And however, it's all stored memory, and rely on our memory to solve today's problems. There's a so-called spiritual leader. His name is Eckhart Tolle. He talks about the present, being in the now. Well, that sounds great, but how do you do that? And I have a key. Spinoza is given a key. My teacher is given a key. As you begin to write your feelings, your emotions, you now learn to live in the reality of the present. As you write, you learn to disconnect. As Spinoza says this: if we remove a disturbance or emotion from the thought or thinking from the person that caused it, and unite those thoughts to other thoughts. And how do you do that? As you write, I have a desire. I wish my niece Vicky would be sober and happy and free. And that's my desire. But she has a problem. So I'm in pain, and Zachary and her have a relationship. Of course, he's older, about 10 years older than she is. But however, and he was my best friend. Now I hate his guts. But how do I separate myself from my focus on them? Because when I think about them, see them in my memory, now they're in my memory. And every time I look at my memory, I get this emotion, frustration, and anger. And what the key is to write down, I feel pain, hate, and anger. I look up the definitions of anger and hate and look at my pain. And I write down, I feel pain. And what is pain? A decrease of power, meaning I'm not able to solve a problem. So I decrease of power. I have a feeling of helplessness, a feeling of impotence, a powerless feeling, and I really don't know what to do. So as you learn to do that over time, they'll become a reality. And what Spinoza is saying is what you're doing. As you write, you're writing, I feel anger, and eventually you come to pain. I feel pain. And you get in touch with this pain. And as you write the anger down, I feel anger. And you begin to look up the definition. Now you're looking at your thoughts. You're being connected with you, yourself, and how you are being. You're no longer looking at the image or thinking of Zach, of Larry. You're not thinking of Vicky. You are now looking and discovering your emotions. And as you do that, you break that connection of that image you have of Larry and Vicky, and you're now become free. And your emotions, you're not going to help Vicky or Zach or Larry. You're not going to help them. People who think they're helping their family members and they're trying to free them, help them because they're opioid addiction or any kind of addiction. You think you're helping them by giving them, paying their bills. You're not helping them. They must learn how to live and survive, not only survive, but how to live in life. It's their life. You have no power to change it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a sad reality.
It is a reality.
It is a reality. So this proposition 2 in the ethics, part 5 of the ethics, explains exactly how to come to freedom. But I would say, those of you who cannot follow this right now clearly and perfectly, it's not to be perfect, it's to learn how to do it. You may not know the emotions, but just as you begin to write and journal, that is the beginning. Just do that. You'll start break away from the overwhelming feeling of being powerless, of being angry or being upset or being depressed. And right now, individuals are in lockdown. Their COVID has really decimated the country. All countries are now in this coronavirus pandemic. And many individuals are alone and lonely, and they don't know what to do. And this is a reality. That's sad. But you now have tools of how to live your life and be free. That doesn't mean you're totally, no, that helps you learn to love others and really help them by being an example of yourself. Is that becoming true?
Yes, it is. Instead of trying to look for the love that I was missing, I'm just finding it in myself. And I'm just being okay with me and not necessarily looking for a missing link out there, you know?
Yes.
It's nice.
So you're beginning to fill yourself with self-love.
Yeah.
And the self-love is coming about because of the work you're doing for yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to end.
Being able to discern between other people's triggered emotions that they're putting on me and my own emotions.
Yes.
That alone is a game changer.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to end this. Thank you for participating, Ben.
Thank you, Lewis.
I'm going to meet you next, what day, next Tuesday or Monday?
I think next Tuesday.
Okay, see you at the same time.
See you at the same time, Lewis. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Take care.